What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Anon here. It is officially the end of the regular season for the NBA, which I don't care about because the Sixers kind of suck. And the NHL season, which it looks like the Flyers may actually be able to back into the playoffs, only to probably lose in 4 games against Pittsburgh. But that's okay. At least we have hope because the Phillies suck at baseball, and I don't really care about the Eagles at this point because it's way too early. So anyway, hopefully everybody had a good weekend, and let's get into it. It is a great week upcoming. So Dragon Ball, I do want to talk very quickly about Fusion World because we've starter decks, I believe, coming in 6 weeks. I think, I'm not quite sure, but FB10 is an early June release. And the only reason I say that is FB9 is like $300 a box. So this game was completely dead to the world. And then with all the hype that we had with the new series of the anime coming, this game's been absolutely on fire. So I do want to mention this very briefly in case you guys don't know. Final Fantasy, I think I mentioned before, Journey, Dreamlike Oceans, they all run together to me, has actually been performing very well. A lot of the cards in the set have good value, and it hasn't really crashed. I think it's been out for 3 weeks now, so it's worth paying attention to. Flesh and Blood, new set. I continue to talk to folks that are dropping the game from their stores, and they're in a really difficult a difficult spot. So the new set that comes out, you have a player base that's hyper competitive, but they're really cheap. They don't want to pay shit for cards. Generally speaking, there's some outliers. You know, people do buy blingy cards on occasion. They don't sell very well. And now you have stores who just got their balls kicked in for the 3rd set in a row. And the EV of Compendium was like $50. And then the antiquity packs, they don't sell. I actually looked it up tonight on TCG Player. There have been 100 antiquity packs that have sold. And to the best of my knowledge, Southern and PhD get somewhere around 10,000 boxes each. So if the stores aren't going to carry the product, or the large folks that break product aren't going to be, it's not profitable to break the product and sell the singles. Now, all of a sudden, you don't have a supply chain. The supply chain becomes broken where nobody can get the singles. They go through the roof until the point where people reach out to distro, they buy the boxes off the shelves, and then they start doing it themselves. So it's going to be interesting, especially now that the orders have closed, to see how light the orders are. I do know for Compendium, I don't believe Southern or PhD had sold out of their purchase order as of the time of the orders being closed. So I wonder if this is weaker. And quite honestly, there are still Compendium boxes at distribution that can be had today. It's not a whole lot, but it is multiple cases, at least double digits, potentially triple digits. So anyway, that being said, let's look here. Gundam. So GDO4 comes out in a couple weeks. Have not gotten any allocations for this as of yet. In fact, it looks like Southern's probably already allocated it. I don't have an allocation from my organized play distributor, but it's going to be really interesting. So the importance of set 4 is it brings more cards into the card pool. The playable decks should become a little bit more diverse. And quite honestly, the game should be more fun. You know, the complaints about the second set is, well, it wasn't very narrow. It only had a couple cards that helped. Now the 3rd set came in and it really expanded the playability of everything. So now hopefully the 4th set here is kind of the cherry on top as we go into the 5th set, which is a 1-year anniversary, where we should have a fully functioning game with a multitude of decks that are competitive. At least that's the hope. I will tell you that GDO6, which is the October set, the orders are due early next week. So make sure you get your orders in. We'll move on from there. Holo Live, I normally don't talk about this, but Rudy did a sale tonight, and he sold through it very quickly. It seems like the folks that buy it love it. There's other folks that won't touch it, but I will tell you that Hololive is the second or the third most popular game in Japan, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, number one being Pokemon. One Piece in Japan is like 5 or 6, which is kind of interesting. And maybe the second one is, God, I can never remember the name. It's like the Magic ripoff, but it's the Japanese version. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So, Lorcana, I will touch on this because we get some haters every now and then. So I did look at Winter Spell, the booster boxes and TCG players sitting in the 120 range, which is a marked improvement from what we've seen on the prior sets, obviously Fabled excluded. For those of you who don't know, Lorcana boxes are generally $87 to $93 at distribution. So, after fees, taxes, and shipping, you can actually make a couple bucks at $120. The problem before Fabled came out, and this really goes back to Inklands, Jafar, the boxes would come out and they'd instantly be selling online for $93, $90. So if you're paying $90 for it, you're not paying. You can't afford to pay 14% on TCG Player, plus another, call it $8 to $9 on average to ship a box. Now, if you're selling a case, you can get that closer to $5, depending on where you're going, maybe a little bit less. But that being said, it is moving in the right direction now. I'm still not buying it. I'm still not a believer because the Ravensburger folks have not proven themselves to know what they're doing, but they have tightened the print runs and they have made some changes which seem to be moving in the right direction now. Is it too little too late? Who knows? Obviously, they have the IP going for them, so that's something that's not going to go away. Could also say the same about Star Wars Unlimited, but the IP is not going to say that. So moving on. My Little Pony, everybody's favorite game, and I will also mention that this is Mason from Cardinal Games' favorite game as well. I'm being facetious. The first set has landed. It has shipped, I believe, from GTS and also from Southern. I will tell you that by my best estimate, there's only about 17,000 boxes of this Fantasy Wonderland set. I think it's going to be popular, quite honestly, because of the IP. It is a little bit, what's the right term? A little bit more kiddie-ish / feminine than most other card games that are just for big spelly dudes, right? So I think there's going to be interest. I don't know if there's going to be interest in the LGS or if the interest is going to be in your Walmarts, your Amazons of the world, or, quite honestly, your eBays. I don't know that this is going to be on TCG Player, but who knows? And look, we have a second set coming out that the orders are due here as well. So who knows? I ordered a bunch. It's going to be fun. So moving on, we'll hit Magic at the end. One Piece, really not a whole lot going on here. OP15. Have not seen a second wave of this as of yet. I don't know when it's coming. I have heard no updates on OP13 or EBO3 reprints, if they are still coming or what's going on there. So, really not a whole heck of a lot in the One Piece world. I'm interested to see, and again, I should probably know this, if they've released anything after OP17, other than Hobbiesville taking pre-orders for OP18, 19, and 20, which are, 2 of those 3 are 2027 sets, which is terrifying if you're lending any company, much less one that's across the border. That's not a knock on Canada. That's just you have no rights. Comment, but hey, it is what it is. We should be getting a premium booster in Q3, Q4. So it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. But whatever. Moving to Riftbound League of Legends. So Unleashed allocations, for the most part, are out. I do have 2 distributors that haven't allocated yet. Two of the big ones haven't. One of the big ones has. It looks like the booster boxes are reasonably healthy, really on par with Spirit Forged. The vaults, the Unleashed vaults, are super, super short printed. I am about 7 to 1 vault versus booster boxes. I've heard somebody being as bad as 10 to 1. Some folks as good as 5 to 1. So I think it really depends. if you're buying Riftbound through Asmodee, you're probably getting hooked up a little bit better because you're not competing with a bunch of other folks. Like, for example, if you're Organized Play Vendor Southern, they're buying Riftbound, but they're also already there because they're buying a slew of other TCGs. With Asmodee, I don't think there's a whole lot of people there to buy Star Wars Unlimited at this point. So really, it's UVS games, which Universes wasn't super popular, and then Riftbound. So pro tip, if you're just getting into it and you're looking for organized play for Riftbound, I highly recommend that Asmodee be the path you go down, because that is going to be the path of least resistance to get product. Not what I do, but just a fun recommendation. Let's see. Shard Bugs is a new one here. I really don't have any interest in it. The creator was big into Sorcery for a while. But again, it's another TCG. I don't need another name or another game, but feel free to check it out. I'm sure it's cool. Sorcery, still no word on Gothic. It looks like Rudy had a sale on Gothic. I am 99.9% sure he got the product directly from Eric's Curiosa. And I guess they're probably selling direct to him, direct to Star City Games, and also Team Covenant, which is a little fucked up in my mind, but I digress. Union Arena. I can now talk about this one. The Nikki Goddess of Victory Precious Booster. The order due date's passed. The first Nikki they way overprinted, and this was before it was brick and mortar restricted. Now that it's brick and mortar restricted, all of the new sets that are coming in have a ton of value, because you don't have a bunch of the backpack sellers or a bunch of broke ass kids buying shit from distribution to only then just churn it on the market and quite honestly just dilute the value of the Union Arena brand. And I use that term loosely because there's no brand, it's all other IPs they're borrowing from. But with this set, and I talked about it briefly last week, I didn't want to drive it home too much because the orders were still open. These have signed and serialized action point cards. And for an IP like Nikkei, I'm just going to call it Nikki because it's easy enough. I think the set's going to do really, really well. I also don't think there's going to be enough supply, but I don't think it's not going to be anything like the first one where, Southern just got a second wave of it a couple weeks ago. There was so much freaking product. It's unbelievable. But that being said, the solo leveling boxes are north of $250. They came out with a second or a reprint, second edition, which isn't going to have any of the serialized cards, really any of the good stuff. So that actually makes me feel better that Bandai is not going to go back and reprint all the value. So the first edition, quote unquote, which is probably a new thing now, is going to have all the good cards. Moving on, I do want to talk about Weiss. And the reason I want to talk about Weiss is not because of what we're looking at here. It is because we have now gotten Brown Dust 2 in Japanese. That order window, I believe, is closed or almost closed. It's really difficult to get Japanese in the US. You can't get it through your traditional distributors here. But for those of you who are interested, feel free to Google Brown Dust 2. It is an app game. It is along the same lines of Nikki and Azure Lane 2, only it is a little bit more mature rated. So I don't know if that set is going to make it in English. But if it doesn't, great, because I have a bunch of Japanese coming. And if it does, I'm going to buy the English as well. So that is going to be in the Japanese July window, the June-July window. And then the Nikki Volume 2 is going to be in the December print window, which are the two big print windows for Bushiroad and most Japanese companies in general. I have not heard anything about Freerun Volume 2 yet, although it was disclosed as it's coming in Japanese in 2026. It is not to the magnitude of IP of these other ones that I just talked about. But Remember that Nikki Volume 2 in December is going to be a simultaneous Japanese and English release. So we are going to get that in December. So moving on, let's talk Magic, and we'll hit Pokemon last. So Magic, Secrets of Strixhaven is close to being sold out in pretty much every LGS. The set is absolutely batshit crazy. I did a video on it last night. And quite honestly, yeah, I don't get a whole lot of views on Magic videos because most of the audience are here for just general industry or finance or Pokemon stuff. But the sell-through on play boosters for Strixhaven, it is far exceeding any set we've had in the recent past. It has now sold more boxes than Turtles has in its entire life, and that is basically through 5 days before pre-release. It is outsold every box that's ever sold for Turtles, and it is about 1,200 boxes ahead of Lorwyn. Now, if you look at the Lorwyn numbers on TCG Player, you're going to say, well, Anon, you're not quite right. And that's true, but there were 3,000 boxes or so that were sold in a Fortune Fire sale. That has not happened for Strixhaven yet. If it's going to happen, I would anticipate it's probably going to be tomorrow. If I was those guys, I wouldn't be selling it for $110 or whatever the price is. The play boxes, quite honestly, I think they're going to be $140, $150 a release. There's just so much demand. Everybody loves the set. The only product that's been lagging are the Commander displays. And, they're sitting at $230 with a distro cost of, $155, $160. They should be $300. I mean, MSRP on those is $60 or $50 times 5, so $250. They're an absolute home run. It is a very, very well-designed product. And should be treated as such. And again, I think a lot of folks just panicked and sold it the same way they would sell everything else. And the demand is really, really up there. And I think one of the things I was thinking about yesterday, and a lot of us tend to forget, the demand for the January, February set, which was Lorwyn this year, Aether Drift last year, it is abysmally bad. And it's not necessarily the set itself, it's just the time of year. So I'm expecting this to far outpace what we saw with Lorwyn. Oh, the other thing is I pulled up the graph for Tarkir. So Tarkir was a second set slot in 2025, the same as what this one is this year. In the full year subsequent to release, and again, we're talking apples and oranges to some extent here, on TCG Player, Tarkir has sold 4,500 play boxes or 4,600 play boxes. Strixhaven has sold 4,600 play boxes already. It doesn't release for 5 more days. And remember, we see the big spikes on pre-release weekend going up to release weekend. So I would be shocked if we don't see 2,000 boxes, 2,500 boxes of play sell in that 10-day period, really from this Thursday through next Sunday. This is coming Thursday through the Sunday after. And it's absolutely insane. So let's talk Pokemon. Let's talk waves. Let's talk what's coming, what's going. This one is going to be a little longer. Because last week they're like, oh, Anon, how come you didn't mention that the Prismatic Evolutions ETB reprint were here? I'm like, oh, we kind of talked to it ad nauseum, but that's okay. So first of all, let's talk perfect order. We'll get this out of the way. I think people are severely underestimating the impact on the market of having 90,000-ish fewer booster boxes. Now, the second wave of booster boxes hasn't shown up yet. The second wave of ETBs has. The second wave of booster bundles has not as of yet. But all the products holding up very, very strong. You have the Meowth, which is like $180. And quite honestly, everybody knew somebody was going to pick a card or pick 2 cards, buy the shit out of it, hold the cards up. And that's what happens in a lot of these sets. None of these sets are straight garbage. They have, whether it's a love Pokemon, an artist that everybody likes, a mechanic that folks like, there's going to be cards that just carry the set. And that's just the world we live in right now. So that's it for Perfect Order on Ascended Heroes. So for the first wave of, or the first release, so I'm going to talk release 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the release on the 30th, which was the 3-pack text stickers, and supposedly the 2-pack, which got pushed to February 20th. And then we'll talk wave 1 and wave 2. So for the 3-pack text stickers, everything has been received by distribution. Everything has gone out. For the Elite Trainer boxes, both waves have been received by distribution and sent out to stores. For the 2-pack text stickers, there's still distributors that have not sent wave 2 out. There are more coming. For the poster collections, most distributors have received and sent those out. There are 1 or 2 distributors that have not done it as of yet. The same with the Ascended Hero mini tins. Most distributors have received and sent them. There are 1 or 2 distributors that have not as of yet. So there are some more coming there. Now, the Ascended Heroes premium pin collections, the wave 2 of those have not yet been received by distribution. I don't know if it's going to be this week. I don't know if it's going to be next week, to be determined. And then the first partner illustration collection series 1 wave 2. Jesus Christ, it's like a fucking encyclopedia line with all the different subcategories. They have been received by distribution. And again, there's 1 or 2 distributors that have not sent that product out to their customer base yet, but most of them have at this point. Now, we have not received Ascended Heroes booster bundles, obviously, or the EX boxes. Those are anticipated to probably ship the end of next week. Well, the end of next week, I guess. Friday is the 24th, so it'll ship at some point next week. So those should come out as well, and I would imagine all this other stuff is going to ship with it. One more quick item, just rewinding to Magic very quickly. It does look like the Commander decks for the first wave are here. Now, some distributors sent everything, but most of them are holding back, call it 20%, which is expected to arrive at distribution next week and hit all of the stores in time for release. Now, the regular bundles have not been received by distribution. We have not gotten anything there yet, and they are questionable to be received by stores for regular release. So they will not be available for pre-release weekend. So I did want to talk about that. Doesn't look like any of the other SKUs are delayed or anything. So moving back to Pokemon, we've talked through all of the different waived items. Let's talk about Mega Evolutions 4, Chaos Rising. It looks like the supply of the product is up. Again, I've mentioned this a couple times now. Between 10 and 15%, depending on who you talk to, which rep, which distributor. And that does include booster boxes, booster bundles, and Elite Trainer boxes. So that is certainly a good thing. It is coming in 2 waves as well. And again, as I mentioned in one of my other videos this week, I don't think it's a coincidence that Pokemon went to 2 waves of product at the same time they closed the deal with buying Logistics, which is their trucking and logistics distribution company. So what that means, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. So Mega Evolutions looks like it's going to be a little bit more product. We have not seen anything solicited for Pitch Black, which is the July set as of yet. But we have seen these Mega Zygarde EX Premium collections, and I think these are 8 packs, not 10 packs. Yeah, so these are 8 packs with lenticular card, and it looks like it's a couple perfect orders. It looks like it's a couple Phantasmal. We'll see what the exact pack mix is when these come out, but they don't come out until the 22nd of May. Again, they're 8 packs. There's a good quantity of those. Likewise, there's a good quantity of the Mega Moonlit tins and the Lumio City mini tins. We have no idea how much of this or what the packs are going to be in this product, but it does look like the total quantity of this stuff continues to increase. at a fairly reasonable pace. Then we have the first partner illustration collection series 2 coming. It doesn't come until the end of June. The same with the League Battle decks. So all kinds of stuff coming all over the place for Pokemon. On the distribution side, it's absolutely batshit crazy because not only are you knocking each one of these down once, but you have to knock them down twice. So you're allocating everything in multiple waves. You have to go through picking and packing and dealing with all the back and forth on damages and missed stuff and all that bullshit. And it's an absolute nightmare for me being a store. It's 100 times worse for all the distributors having to deal with this because it just sucks. So that being said, everything continues to do well. Chaos Rising, the Greninja is going to be a banger. The Gold Greninja is going to be a big chase card as well. I'd be shocked if the Greninja is not a $400 or $500 card. Just kind of is what it is. Because what else are you gonna chase in the set? And then with Pitch Black, I'm really interested to see if there's a Dark Charizard. Because if there is, that's going to be a massive sleeper that nobody's paying attention to. And if there's not, it's just you're going to have Darkrai in there. It's just going to be a regular set, which I'm super interested to see what happens the second half of the year because we are accelerating that September set, moving it up to July. And then the July summer specialty set and the December specialty set is being merged in the 30th anniversary. So real quickly, I do want to touch on reprints. So some of you may have seen that there is a semi-confirmed Destin Rivals ETB reprint happening in summer that is underway. And then the Q1 booster box reprint, and I do enjoy the the folks who like to give me shit in the comment section on this. Those are done. Those are packed. What I don't know is what is the lag between when they are packed in the factory and when they actually get processed and they make it to distribution. So we'll see what happens. It could be a week, could be 2 weeks, could be 3 months for all we know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon.